Greetings to all subscribers and guests of my channel. In this video, we will talk about the Russian prison of special regime for life prisoners, which is called the White Swan. Prison White Swan is located in the city of Solikamsk. Here life prisoners serve their sentences, so no one hopes to be released on parole. From the very beginning, the colony has held political prisoners. Most of them were ministers of the church, and only later the colony was reclassified as a penal zone. The name White Swan was given to the prison because it was a kind of swan song of the criminals. In other words, getting in here was the worst thing in the world for prisoners. In the courtyard of the prison there is a monument to white swans, so it is logical that the place has that name. In 1992 there was an attempted escape from the White Swan. The perpetrator, armed with a grenade, climbed into the office of the warden. Under threats, he demanded the release of his fellow inmate and that they both be provided with a car. The perpetrator was quickly blocked and then killed. A SWAT officer was also killed during this incident. Since that year, security measures at the camp have been tightened. In the cells, criminals for life sit 1, 2, or 3 people at a time. Maniacs and murderers live in 2 blocks. After the first 10 years, the prisoners are transferred to facilitated conditions of detention. This means that they are allowed to receive letters and parcels from the outside and even see their relatives. The prisoners are fed in accordance with international standards. Prisoners can go to the library and buy food in the prison store. Prisoners are housed in cells based on their psychological compatibility. Once a week, prisoners are allowed to take a shower. They are allowed out for an hour-long supervised walk each day. They have the opportunity to spend their days in the exercise yard cells with bars all around the perimeter, located on the roof. The exercise yards are cool and bright. Prisoners are not required to work in the first years of their confinement. They are also not allowed to attend any educational institutions until they have served 10 years. They may, however, engage in self-development. There is a woodworking company on the territory of the institution, so prisoners can work there if they want. However, more than 70% of the inmates do not work. There is strict discipline in the prison. For example, if a security officer enters a cell, prisoners must stand up, walk to the wall, press their hands against it, and put their feet apart. In this position, they must stand until the prison officer closes the iron door. Since the White Swan Penal Colony is a special regime institution, all the necessary conditions are observed here to prevent prisoners from escaping. Barbed wire is stretched around the fences. The fences are strong and high. There is special equipment, as well as about 50 specially trained dogs. In the entire history of the colony, there has never been a single case of a criminal escaping. From the windows of their cells, prisoners can see only the roofs of neighboring buildings. If a prisoner dies, then the prison administration sends a telegraph message to his relatives on the day of his death. If they do not come and pick up the body, the deceased is buried in the city cemetery. If they wish, the relatives have the right to rebury the relative. The Russian prison White Swan is the place where in the Soviet Union they broke the thieves of the law. During the entire existence of the prison, 130 thieves of the law were broken there. One of the methods used by the head of the colony was to dress up the permanent inmates in the uniform of the wardens and transfer them to the transit section. It was these disguised prisoners who performed all the bad functions. They used force, beat the thieves of the law, and used prohibited methods. The head of this colony claimed that prisoners could do anything with themselves, mutilate themselves, try to commit suicide by any means, or disfigure themselves in any way. It was another invention of the Soviet authorities to break and destroy people with their principles. In White Swan, this is how the legend of the world of thieves, VASYA Brilliant, ended up. He was crowned in 1950 and died in White Swan in 1985. According to the unofficial version, he was murdered. Just hearing the name White Swan makes many people break into a sweat. Despite the beautiful name, we are talking about a maximum security colony. Today, White Swan Prison is called nothing other than a theater with a one-way ticket. Not a single inmate has ever been released because all of them are sent here to serve their life sentences.